Hi everybody, my name is Marco Benitez. I'm about to share some exciting information with you about a seminar that I created called Business State of Mind. Before I get into that though, I'd like to give you a little background information on myself and on how the seminar came to be. So I've been working in the medical field since I was about 18 years old. I started as a medical assistant, eventually became an EMT, emergency medical technician. I worked for FDNY in the 911 system. I went to college right after that. I went to Long Island University's CW Post campus, and I earned a bachelor's degree in medical biology with a specialization in biomedical technology, and I minored in pre-med. I also earned from there a master's degree in medical biology with a concentration in medical chemistry and a minor in hematology. After that, I decided to pursue a career in clinical medicine, and I went to the St. John's University Physician Assistant Program. I graduated from there in 2007, and I started working in primary care internal medicine, and I continue to work in that field to this day. It's something I really enjoy. In late 2008, I started my own recruiting and consulting company. Premier Staffing Solutions and Consulting is what it's called, and we're online at PremierMedJobs.com. So that pretty much sums up the highlights of my professional career. Let me give you a little background as to how this seminar came to be. So when I graduated from PA school, I did what a lot of new graduates did. I answered a job ad on the internet, I went on an interview, and I accepted the position that was offered to me. It was at a low salary, I worked the hours that they wanted me to work, and all because I wanted to get that 1 year of experience that everyone says you're supposed to have before you start looking for another job. But while I did feel that I was undercompensated and overworked, I realized that I really didn't have it as bad as other PAs and NPs that I had spoken to. So I met a PA who started working a job right out of school, and they started paying her $55,000 a year in neurology. 6 years later, she's still at the same job, and she only makes $60,000 a year. She works 6 days a week, and she has to pay for her own malpractice insurance. I met a nurse practitioner actually who was paid by hourly wages and worked till about 7:30 p.m. every single day. But he was told by his employer that he wouldn't get paid beyond 5 p.m. because he was expected to work quickly and finish his work by then. The irony is that the patients were allowed to walk in and sign in to be seen without appointment until about 5:30 p.m. every single day. And I also met another provider who was working for over a year at a job, which convinced her to sign a blank contract. And later the employer had terms added to that contract that bound her to stay at that job for at least another 3 more years. So these are just a couple of stories of things that really kind of motivated me to create this seminar. There was obviously a need. There was some kind of gap in the education. How is it that people from different backgrounds working in different specialties were all in these less than ideal jobs? And the reason I found was that our education was designed to train us to save lives rather than to handle employment negotiations. And in essence, we graduated school as clinical sheep, but we sought employment with business-minded wolves. So after about a year's research, I put together this seminar titled Business State of Mind, a PA and NP's guide to landing their first job and every job thereafter, and a bunch of other stuff you should know but nobody else will tell you. So why is something like this important? Well, the tendency of a new grad is to be so glad that someone is offering you a job that you accept whatever's offered to you with what's called the beggar's nod and smile. It's important to be well informed and prepared before you start making that transition from student to provider. Job hunting, especially for the new grad, can be a little bit intimidating. You don't know what to expect. And especially for new graduates, sometimes identifying what's a good offer and what's a bad offer can be challenging. And it's good to know what to expect overall during this transition. So in this seminar, we're going to start off by talking about the board exam. I'm going to give you 6 simple tips to a meltdown-free boards experience, okay? Something to help you get through it without having a meltdown. Okay, I'm going to talk about important numbers that are going to be involved in you being a provider. Licensing, what are the requirements, the preparation that needs to be done, where you're going to apply for these licenses, etc. Licensing for other states. We're going to talk about the DEA number, when you need one, where to apply for one, and how to get one for free. The NPI and the UPIN, what are these numbers? Why do you need one? Where are you going to get one? And I'm going to tell you how you can have someone do this for you, get one for you. We're going to talk about pre-hunt preparation, things you should be doing before you even begin to think about looking for a job, documents that you should have handy, helpful medical and laboratory evaluation that you should have done on yourself, certifications that are required and some that are nice to have, not necessarily that you need to have, important people that you should be contacting or visiting. We're going to cover resumes, CVs, cover letters, thank you letters. We're going to talk about what the difference is between these and when to appropriately use each one. I'm going to give you samples to take home. I'm going to talk about the formatting, the anatomy of. I'm going to give you a list of action verbs, effective language, and more. I'm going to tell you how to market yourself as a PA, as a nurse practitioner, different ways how you can market yourself online, in print, and in person. We're going to talk about job hunting. We're going to cover this in detail. How you could job hunt for yourself, how you can job hunt for yourself on the internet, how you can let the internet do the work for you, how you can let people do the work for you, how to have them job hunt for you. Things to consider. Something that a lot of new grads have difficulty trying to figure out is whether it's best to work in a hospital or private practice. We're going to cover all of that. We're going to talk about the interview. What to do with interview offers, if you accept one, how to prepare to give you an edge over other applicants. We're going to talk about new graduate salaries by specialty, state, and nationwide. What to expect, questions that are going to be asked to you, questions that can be asked by you, do's and don'ts during your interview, red flags to be aware of, and what to do at the end of an interview. We're going to talk about which one of these animals you should be like during your interview. We're going to cover compensation negotiation. This is very important information, not offered anywhere else. We're going to talk about key terms during compensation negotiations, the differences in compensation between hospitals and private practices, and we're going to give you salary negotiation points. This information there is priceless. Contracts, we're going to cover the anatomy of a contract, whether or not you should sign one or not. It's not as simple as saying, hey, you get a job, sign a contract. Moving on, when is a good time to decide, okay, hey, maybe this job has served its purpose, it's time for me to move on to something bigger and better. What are good reasons to resign for? Preparation you should be doing before you resign for a job, and other things to consider. We're going to talk a little bit about my company, located online at PremierMedJobs.com. It's a recruiting and consulting company that I started, which focuses on the increased demand and serving the needs of the mid-level practitioner. On the website, you can register for this seminar, the Business State of Mind seminar, but you'll also find there links to free CMEs. I post networking events that I sometimes host throughout New York City and sometimes even abroad. You could also find job postings on there, so when the time comes you're looking for a job, you can just log on to the website and see what the latest positions are there that I'm recruiting for. You can submit your resume, you can sign up for the e-newsletter so you can stay up to date on all these events. If you look for Premier Med Jobs on Facebook and Twitter, you'll find us there. You can like us there, you can follow us as well. And just to recap what we're going to discuss in this seminar, we're going to talk about the board exam, a couple of helpful hints to help you get through it without a meltdown. We're going to talk about job search preparation, things you should do before you even start looking for a job. There's a detailed discussion we're going to have about that. We're going to talk about important numbers, license, DEA, NPI, how to get these numbers, forms, links, etc. We're going to cover resumes, CVs, cover letters, thank you letters, marketing methods appropriate for PAs and NPs, job searching, many tactics we're going to explore in detail. We're going to talk about hospitals versus private practice, the interview, what to expect, tips, tactics, and more. Contracts, the anatomy of this, to sign or not to sign. We're going to talk about compensation negotiation. This information is priceless. Tips and tools to empower any PA or NP who's going to be looking for a job. Not just your first job, but every single job thereafter. We're going to talk about statistics relevant to PAs and NPs. Moving on, when to, how to, more. We're going to talk a little bit about Premier Med Jobs, and at the end of this presentation, you're going to find that you're more prepared to find the job than any class that has ever graduated before you. You're going to be able to select the job opportunities that are out there with a better understanding of today's job market and the business jargon. You're going to be able to interview with confidence, and you're going to know how to negotiate the terms of employment to help create that job you've always wanted. And we're going to cover a lot more. So the next Business State of Mind workshop, if you don't find the information right on the screen, simply go to PremierMedJobs.com. I usually post the information right there on the home page, but you could also go to PremierMedJobs.com, then click on services and then on workshops, and you'll find the Business State of Mind workshop on there. So thanks for listening to me. I really look forward to seeing you guys there. Hopefully you can make it. If you don't see a date posted for the workshop, I do the seminar by request. If I have enough interest for it, simply email me at bsm@premiermedjobs.com. Thanks for your time, and I look forward to seeing you there.